Hey, Nathan.
Hey, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Hey,
Hey, yeah, it's a bit tricky with a setup like that.
I want to look at you, but I'm looking at so it's gotta gotta figure this thing out here.
Cool, cool. So we still have a few minutes until we're getting started here, but I just wanted to hop on really quickly because I see we already have quite a few attendees. As I was mentioning to Nathan earlier today, we do have live translation available, which is really, really cool. So for all of you guys already tuned in, if you are looking for Italian translation, you're going to go ahead and select the Korean flag. Um, this is a little tricky, but it's the workaround that we found just because Zoom doesn't have a flag for Italy just yet. So you're going to go ahead and select Korean if you are looking for the Italian translation. If you're looking for the French translation, go ahead and select the French flag. It seemed to work out pretty well yesterday for Tom Ferry's session. We also had Hebrew, which was the Japanese flag. So we're getting a little creative with our workarounds. But yeah, I think it's a really cool opportunity that we can have this live translation. So if you need Italian or French, we have that for you today. Thank you, everyone who is already joining in. So, Nathan, you were listening to Tom's session yesterday?
I've listened to all three. Well, at least the first two, which was Jesse on Monday, Tom on Tuesday, and then mine. So yeah, it's been a busy week for you guys.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. We've had powerhouses, and now we're rounding out the week with you. It's been really incredible. I feel like I was talking to my husband. I was like, yeah, I have to go in and hop on another webinar. And he's like, another one? And I'm like, yeah, this week is really, really amazing. I'm really looking forward to your session today on
Well,
business
thank you.
because this is everything I'm sure that, you know, Tom was talking about that a little bit yesterday. Um, Europe is like a few weeks ahead than North America when it comes to COVID. So obviously we're still in the middle of it. But I think some people are starting to turn their attention to what's going to happen, like what's it going to look like after. And
Yep.
that's when business planning really comes into play and making sure you have a strong plan and strategy in place. So I'm really looking forward to your session today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to be able to talk to you guys as well. I wish I could see you face to face. I would have otherwise been in Europe a month ago, but given the circumstances, I couldn't be there face to face. But I do look forward to seeing you guys, obviously face to face, sooner rather than later. Hopefully, on the other side of this when it's all said and done.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and get started in a minute here. I know we always get this question, so I'm going to go ahead and address it out front. We are recording this session. So if you do have your internet go down in the middle of the session, or something pulls you away from the session, you will be getting a recording, so not to worry. In terms of interaction, as Nathan was just discussing, you can interact with us in a few different ways, obviously not face to face. But you can write in the chat, which I see some of you guys have already started using. Hello to everybody who is there in the chat with us. If you want to address everybody, not just the panelists, be sure that you enable that in the chat box. Otherwise, you're automatically just going to be right into the panelists. And if you want to ask a question, you can do that using the Q&A feature. So we are going to have some time for questions. I'm going to politely interrupt Nathan every now and then, so that way you guys get your questions answered when they're most relevant. I can see it's already 1 minute past. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. Hello to everybody who is just joining. I'm watching you guys in the chat. We're very fortunate to have Nathan Dart with us today. As Nathan was saying, he was planning on doing a European tour for us, but he has been very flexible and he's doing a live session with us today. So I'm really grateful to have you. I'm gonna let you just take over, Nathan, because you're the reason why everyone's here today. So I'm just gonna hand it over.
Well, thank you, Haley. This is great. Yes, I would have loved to seen you live, face to face. I miss you guys, but hey, you know what? This will do for now. One thing, if you could do me a favor, because I can't see all the comments coming through, but I could tell you one thing. I do get very excited and very passionate about what is it we're going to be talking about here today, because what we're talking about is how we can better our current position in our lives for ourselves and for our family. And the reason I say that is I get a bit excited. And as I get excited, I may talk a little fast. So if at any time I'm talking too fast for the translators or for you to understand what it is I'm trying to say, please let me know. So Haley, if you could do me a favor and just slow me down if I get too excited. Is that fair enough?
Okay, sounds great. Will do.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, it's interesting. So when the tour was created, one of my talks was supposed to be on business planning and so the simplification of business planning as a whole. And at the time, it's a very timely subject, and it still is a very timely subject. But the thing is the business plan. Well, I guess let's do this. Raise your hand if you created a business plan in late 2019 for 2020. Everybody, raise your hand. I see everybody's hand. Not everybody's hand raised. Are you still wearing your pajamas over there? No, I'm just kidding. I can't see anything with you guys. I can't see any videos. But anyhow, with that being said, if you did create a business plan, you can go ahead and just tear that thing up, because the business plan that you created may have had the right structure for 2020, but what you may have filled out in that business plan is probably not very likely to be actually happen now in 2020. We had to readjust. Things have changed, and we had to reposition where we are. Now, you guys, and we talked about this yesterday, and Jesse talked about it on Monday. From where I am in the States, now I'm in Maryland. I'm just outside of Washington, D.C. So I'm part of the D.C. metro area. We've been in lockdown for about 6 weeks now. So we're in our 6th week of lockdown. As I'm talking to you, a lot of people on this call have been locked down for the last 9 or 10 weeks. And I'm actually looking to you for a lot of advice as well. I'm watching you online, and I'm seeing what you're looking to do and how you're transitioning out of this. And I will take a lot from what you guys are doing too. And you guys are inspiring me, and which will in turn inspire the industry back here in North America and how they can help get their business jump started. But when this first started, we went through some trends. We can all admit it that when it first got locked down, we were scared. We didn't know what was going to happen. The uncertainty was settling in, and it was a very vulnerable place for all of us. And with that being said, we took our business plans and we just said, okay, what can we do to retain and correct and make sure we secure our financial house? I did the same thing. I wanted to make sure I was protecting my employees, I was protecting my agents, I was protecting my industry and my clients while I was doing that. It put me in a very defensive mindset. Now, as we've probably heard this before, great teams, great championship teams are built on defense. But when you're built on defense, it's important because you can get your financial house in order, which is so very important and is important given these current times that we're in. But living in a life of defense lives in a life of scarcity. And with scarcity lacks growth. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to be able to transition from the scarcity mindset into the growth mindset. But there's a couple things that has to occur first. And what's interesting is I kind of tweaked this presentation from what my original presentation was, given the circumstances of what we're dealing with right now today. Now, as we know, if you had a business plan that you created in late 2019 for and to be executed in 2020, you can go ahead and tear that up. But the structure itself was very valuable. Now, over the last 6 to 9 to 10 weeks that you've been locked in your house, going through a vast number of emotions, you may have, some of you look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I don't have the same energy. I don't have the same passion that I once had 10 weeks prior when I was so optimistic in regards to the growth that could occur for us and my family in 2020. And I get it. But I'm reaching out to here to talk to you guys today in a place to say your passion has not been lost. It just needs to be re-engaged. It needs to reignite your passions. And we're going to start there today. Where I can come from and speak to you here today is a unique position. I can come to you as a player's coach. For a lot of you who recognize this, I'm just like you. I'm a RE/MAX agent, real estate agent that runs a team. Now, I'm also a speaker as well. But when I speak, I can speak to you from the trenches because I'm in the same place. I still have a business to run and a family to support. I still have to find my energy, my passion to make 2020 the best year yet, despite what we're having to deal with. Guys, in these circumstances, during these times, our character is being tested. And what makes me so excited to be on a call like this, especially talking to my peers within RE/MAX, is what I know is that we were built for this. This is the circumstances that we were built for, and that RE/MAX Europe supports and help building you guys up to making you greater and make a greater contribution in the marketplaces that you serve. So we were built for this. Our character is being tested. We've heard this a number of times, that our businesses and ourselves personally are being tested right now. Our true character is being shown. It's no longer what we say we do anymore that matters. It's what we do that matters. Because our clients see it, our customers see it, our marketplace sees it, our family sees it, our friends see it, and most importantly, we see it when we look at ourselves in the mirror. We are being tested, and I know that in this group, we're going to come out of this better than we went into it. There's no question. But it has to start here. It has to start with our passions. Now, we have to re-engage our passion if it's not otherwise engaged. But re-engaging our passion, I believe that passion plus fight plus strength equals fulfillment. We're going to go into that. This is before we even get into business planning, because the business plans are relevant unless you're passionate about what is it you want to create for yourself and your family. Everybody with me? So let's start with passion. But passion, we know what the word means. You can hear it in my voice when I speak to you. But to me, passion breaks down into 4 different areas. The first, I want you to write this down. You're not going to have to write much down through this entire presentation, but I do want you to write this down. You can take a picture of it, write it down, whatever you're comfortable with. But what I want you to write down is what? We got to be passionate about what it is we do. What do we do? Well, yes, we sell real estate. Yes, we help sellers sell, buyers buy. Let's not romanticize what it actually is that we do. I bet for some of us, 95% of what it is that we do, we don't enjoy doing. And I get that. But there is the 5%. The 5% that it is we do, we love it. And it brings us coming back every single time. We want to do anything we possibly can to go through all the 95% of the stuff that we don't want to do, to have the opportunity to be able to do that 5%. So let's understand clearly what it is that we do. Secondly, why do we do it? We have to be passionate about why it is we do what we do. Well, I know when I'm selling real estate, I'm passionate about because what it is I do, because I have the opportunity to change lives. I have the opportunity to be able to help a seller sell, to give them a platform to be able to buy their next property, or to set themselves sail on their next adventure. For a buyer, I have the opportunity to be able to buy their first house, to buy the place that they're going to raise their family. That is why I do what it is I do. But then number 3, I got to be passionate about how it is that I do it. How do I do what I do? How do I service my clients the way they deserve to be serviced? Well, I know how I do it, especially in times like this. I come from a place of, I stopped selling and I focused on helping. I'm empathetic to the needs and the wants of my buyers and sellers in today's marketplace. I'm purposeful and I'm present when I'm communicating with my clients. That's how it is I do it. But the most important thing is, who do we do it for? Who are you currently doing it for? Is it for your family? Is it for your spouse? Is it for your kids? Is it for your friends? Or is it for yourself? Who is it that you have to protect? Who is it that you have to stare at the mirror and say, did I do everything I could in today's marketplace to help move things forward? Did I offer value in this marketplace? Because the essence of how successful we are is determined by the value we deliver in the marketplace. Who are we doing it for? Now, this has to get you excited. This you have to feel in your gut. You have to be emotionally charged by who and what it is that you do. Because if you're not, it's never going to be real. It's never going to be real. See, the thing about a business plan, we've created business plans in the past. And I get it. When we create our business plans in the past, a lot of times they're just wishes and dreams. We can all create wishes and dreams, and that's great. But I'm not here to talk about wishes and dreams. I have the responsibility of sharing with you, not wishes and dreams, but standards to be met. And if you're that passionate about the what, the why, the how, and the who, then these will be standards that need to be met. And I want to be able to help you get there. Now, when you're passionate about the what, the why, the how, and the who, then you have the ability to be able to fight. Now, I'm not trying to be aggressive in a negative way, but if you're passionate about it, if you believe in it so much, you gotta fight for it, guys. There's a quote that I'm going to end with, but I want to state it to you now because I think it's so very important, because we have to get there together before we can even talk about strategies to implement to move things forward. There's a quote that my father taught me, and he recited to me as I recite to my kids every single night before they go to bed. Great people actively create their lives, while others are created by their lives, passively waiting to see where life will take them next. The difference is living your life intentionally versus living it by accident. Guys, we have to take responsibility for where we are. Now, I don't want you to be too hard on yourself, because we can only control the controllable. Let's start there. I know there's circumstances we can't control right now, but there are certain things that we can control, and that's what we want to be able to dive into today. But great people actively create their lives, while others passively wait to see where life will take them next. We don't take a passive approach. We're willing to fight for what is it we believe in and what we're passionate about. You got to have that mentality. That, then plus strength. So when we talk about strength, I'm not talking about our physical strength. I'm talking about who we are as people. What is our strengths? Where are we operating in our authentic self? That's where I believe I find my true strength. When I'm operating in my authentic self, I'm truly being genuine to who it is that I am and what it is that I do. When I'm operating in my authentic self, I find strength. I find energy in what it is that I do. To operate in my authentic self, to explain it in a different way, is if it's a Saturday or Sunday, I can still find myself operating my authentic self, doing what it is that I want to do. For instance, doing a webinar like this, speaking in front of you, building and creating a program to help and add value to what is it you do in your business, because this is me operating in my authentic self. I love what it is that I'm doing right now here for you. What is it that what is your strength? Where is you operating your authentic self? Identify that. How do you apply that in your business? Because I believe if you find that passion, you have the willingness to fight for it, you know your true strength, operating in who you truly are as a person, that's where, at the end of the day, we find fulfillment. Now, fulfillment's a big word for a lot of us. We've heard this before, and it's the secret. How do you find fulfillment? I'm not fulfilled. Well, here's what I've been able to find. Here's my view so far. Fulfillment to me is not a destination. It is not a destination for me. Fulfillment for me is the journey. Fulfillment for me is the journey that we're on right now. The uncertainty of what we're dealing with in this journey is what excites me. I gotta tell you, consistency, clarity, structure, stability, that scares me. I know it sounds weird, but it's that journey, it's that excitement. That's where I find fulfillment. It's never in the destination. You win those awards, you take those vacations, you get that car, you get that house, and that's all well and good. But you know what? Looking back, it was never as fulfilling to receive it as it was to try to earn it. That's the opportunity that we have right now. Now, I wanted to start here before we get into business planning, because I needed to take you to this place. Because we're not here to talk about wishes and dreams. We're here to talk about standards to be met. And that's what I want to be able to focus on. Now, having a hard time sharing my screen. One second here, Haley. There we go. There we go. We have to get there because we have to have an emotional charge. Because a wish and a dream, that doesn't necessarily have to come with an emotional charge. When it becomes a standard to be met and you're willing to fight for it because you've got the passion, that's going to be led by one of two different ways. It's either going to be led by pleasure or pain. Pleasure, the excitement of the opportunity to be able to build a business that supports the life that you want to live for yourself and your family. That's emotionally charged by pleasure, and that gets you excited. Now, certainly that's a lot more fun than to be charged by pain. But right now, we've been locked in a stay-at-home order for 6 to 10 to 12 weeks. I would suggest that for most of us on this call, our pain triggers are kicking in right now. And I want you to dig deep to your gut where those pain triggers are coming from. I need that pain, that emotional charge to push you to fight right now. Because if you don't have that emotional charge to know that 2020 is going to be even better than it was before, then it won't be. It will continue to be a wish and a dream rather than a standard to be met. But what else we have to recognize and understanding that we have to have one of these two emotional triggers is we have to understand that the same person that we were prior to this whole thing 10 weeks ago, that same person will not be the same person that can carry us through 2020 in the future. It's not. That person has to be just set aside and don't look back. Hey, you know what? Prior to COVID-19, that was fun, but that's no longer going to be the case. See, the thing is, people make excuses all the time. And I operate in a place that I can't make excuses and results at the same time. And when people make these excuses, say, well, I can't be successful in this marketplace because we're on lockdown. I can't be successful because nobody has the confidence to buy and sell in today's marketplace. I can't be successful for whatever it may be. If it wasn't COVID, it'd be like I wasn't driving the right car. I don't live in the right area. I don't wear the right clothes. You're going to make excuses for anything, and that prevents anybody from moving anything forward. Because most people are going against the grain. They're going against the natural flow of life. They're saying, I can't be successful because I don't have. Well, that's the wrong way of looking at it. Because I believe that the natural flow of life starts with having to become somebody different. But here's the thing, just saying I got to become somebody different is not enough. You have to, before you become somebody different, you have to be willing to let go entirely of who it was that you were. Because follow my lead here. If I want to be a top professional, a top producer in my market area, I want to become that person. I want to understand what it is that they do. Because if I can become that person, do what it is that they do, guess what? I can have what it is that they have. So for instance, you watch me on these videos. You say, okay, well, Nathan, he's Diamond Club, which, his team earns over $1 million a year. We have been consistently for the last 10 years plus at this point. You say, I want to be just like. Well, in order to become me, you have to do what it is that I do. You have to know my systems, what I'm doing, how I wake up in the morning, what energy I bring to the table. You got to do what it is I do, and then you can have what it is I have is no different than myself. When I first started going through these programs, I was in a tough place. I got to see the other side of 2007, 2008, which in the US was a very, very difficult place in the real estate market. I got my butt kicked pretty good during that time. My pain trigger was really kicking in during that time when I had not had a settlement for 9 months. I took loans out just to try to be able to survive. I had to figure out a way. But I knew that I wanted to become that agent that I always wanted to be, but I wasn't at the time willing to do what it is that they needed to do until I had to. And once I found out that I had to, I became that person. I did what they did. I studied them. I wore their clothes. I drove the cars. I spoke the languages. I said the scripts. I made those calls to past clients. I was doing the direct mail. I was doing the online advertising. I was doing anything I could to emulate what it is they do so I could have what they had. And you know what? I got there. And then when I got there, was I satisfied? No, because I was never fulfilled with the destination. I was fulfilled in the journey. Then I had to find my next step. That's just me. That's just how I operate. Finding that next step caused me to say, okay, that was great, but now I got to become somebody different. Do it as they do in order to have what it is that they have. And that's what I'm going to take you through here today. I'm going to show you what it is that I do so you can have what it is that I have. The plan that I'm going to be able to show you is showing you what it is that I can do. So I'm very fortunate that I have the opportunity to be able to run and operate a real estate team for one, and then two, have the opportunity to be able to speak in front of audiences like yourself. This is me operating in my authentic self. My authentic self is also operating as a leader for my team. That is what I love to do. I am being genuine when I'm here. I'm here to give you everything that I have. So when operating in this place, it allows me to be able to truly be passionate, be fulfilling, and offering value to everybody that I serve. because I'm in a good place. I'm in a positive place. So this business plan, what it shows represents how I work through my year. You know, right now I'm only working 28 work weeks a year, and that nets me or grosses me over $1 million of commissions earned per year. Only working 27 weeks a year. Now, granted, during this whole COVID situation, that might get adjusted because, you know, I'm not going anywhere during this time. But I'm showing you the tools, the systems, the processes that we put in place to ensure that I can live my life truly authentically and truly live a life that is fulfilled. But where I had to start with this is I had to dream. I had to dream where and what it is that I wanted to have in my life. Now, like I said, we create these dreams, and it's so important to be able to create them. But what fun is it just to create them if they never come true? Just think to yourself, when's the last time you created a dream for yourself? It was New Year's. You just polished off that bottle of champagne, wine, whatever it was that you had. You say, you know what, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to have this. But it didn't come true. Well, sometimes the dream is so big, you don't even know how to even get started with it. What we need to do is we need to simplify that dream to make it, rather than a wish and a dream, a standard to be met. From there, we have to understand that we have to become somebody different. We have to become somebody different in all different areas of our life. We have to focus on our future. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about mindset here today. I'm here to talk to you about business planning. But this is where we get our mind right. Because how I start my mornings are absolutely critical. Like this morning, it's 8:20 in the morning here for me. You're actually in my office at my house. Behind this whiteboard is a chair with my little desk lamp, and that's where I read every single morning. To me, this is the bookmark of my day. This is how I book in my day. This is how I start it. This is how I end it. I start waking up first thing in the morning. When I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm coming down to this office right here. I'm reading 30 minutes of something powerful, something motivating. And then from there, I'm writing in my journal, collecting my thoughts. I'm reviewing my future focus, identifying who it is that I want to become and what is it I have to do. I'm looking at 8 different areas of my life: personally, professionally, physically, financially, spiritually. I want to know who it is that I need to become to actually offer that value in the marketplace and to offer that value to myself and my family. So I start there. That's where I start, is within my future focus. Guys, in this conversation, all the slides, you're going to be able to get them. I also have a business plan, and I know Tom, and listening to Tom yesterday, he's got a ton of content that's coming to you guys as well. So in today's conversation, I just want you to be here with me. I'm going to send everything to you. You're going to have a copy of my business plan. You're going to have a copy of Tom's business plan. And as I continue on in this talk, it doesn't make a difference what business plan you use, as long as you use it. So we now got our big dream. We now have our future focus, and it's time now to plan the perfect year. In planning the perfect year, we have to ask ourselves 8 questions. The 8 questions that we have to ask is, for one, now moving forward in this post-COVID era that we're in, what is now our vision? What does our future look like right now? Like, that's a tough question. What if it doesn't go back to the so-called normal? What is the vision of how real estate will be bought and sold now moving forward? What is our vision of the value, the second question, that we can provide to the marketplace? Now, here's a tough question, especially given the circumstances we're in now. But when we look at value, the question I have about value is, what value can you offer to a marketplace that a buyer or seller cannot otherwise get online? What value can you provide as a real estate agent that a consumer cannot otherwise find online? Now, that's a tough question because everything's online right now, right? But this is where I need to put your head, because we know in the absence of value, it always comes down to price. Consumers in today's marketplace, whether it be in North America or in Europe, doesn't make a difference. Consumers in today's marketplace are convinced they know more than we do. They're convinced because they have everything available to them online. But where can we step it up? Where can we offer value that they can otherwise find online? That's the question that I have. That's the question that I challenge you with, and I want you to get your head around as you create your overall vision and building out the business plan. Then you have to ask yourself, where is my business coming from in today's marketplace? Things have shifted. Where is business coming from? This is something that I look at regularly, even given the circumstances that we're in right now. Fortunately, we're actually closing out. We've got 15 closings this month in April. It's actually not that far off of where I was last year, where last year I had 19 closings in April. So despite everything that's going on, despite a lockdown, despite a stay-at-home order, we're still offering value. And where I'm getting that business from is no different than where I get it otherwise. My business is broken up into 3 different areas. It's from past clients, so repeat past clients. It's the referrals from those past clients, and it's new business. That has not shifted at all. Still, over 70% of my business comes directly through my past clients' referrals, even still today. So where is your business coming from? Let's track that. Financially, what is your financial goals? Where do you want to be at the end of the year? What is that number? But think about that number. Because when you have your number, it's either 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, a million, whatever your number is. I want you to compare it to the number that you had previously. And say it's $100,000 more. Say it's $200,000 more. I want you to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how is that $100,000 or $200,000 going to make a difference in your life? Ask yourself the question. It's got to be more than a number. I want to know how the $100,000 difference, the $200,000 difference, the $500,000 difference is going to make a valuable impact in your life. Because if it's not, once again, it's a wish and a dream. You're just putting a number on a piece of paper. Your primary goal. What are you going to focus on? Where is your focus at in today's marketplace? Is it with buyers? Is it sellers? Is it in a certain marketplace? Is it in a certain geographical area? What is it? What is your primary focus or your primary goals? Where are those at? What marketing efforts are you going to be implementing? What strategies, and we're going to be talking about, are you going to be implementing to help generate more leads, to expose you to more people? What are your activities? What are not only your annual activities, what are your big rocks that are out there? What are your annual activities? But then what are your quarterly activities? What are your monthly activities? What are your weekly activities? What are your daily activities? And then what are your hourly activities? What is it that you're doing every single day to purposely move things forward? And then ultimately at the end of the day, you have to track it. Because who I'm speaking to right now is I'm speaking to business owners. I'm speaking to successful business owners. See, guys, people like to quantify us as salespeople. And now salespeople can, for some people, is a dirty word. But we're more than just salespeople. We are business owners. And as business owners, it's our responsibility to be able to track everything that we do. Because I know if I can't track it, I can't measure it, and I certainly can't improve it. That is my responsibility as a business owner, and as your responsibility is as well. So we decide our income goal. But when you decide that income goal, sometimes it's just too big and you don't even know where to start. So after we decide it, we have to make that big small. We have to show how it is and what is it we have to do. Like I said, annually, quarterly, monthly, daily, hourly, to be purposeful in what it is that we do. Now, for some of you on the call, you guys are familiar with my coach and my personal friend, Richard Robbins, who's come out and spoke in Europe as well. And he has introduced you to Goal Setting Simplified, GSS. Now, I live off of this program right here, GSS. Now, you guys will receive a copy of this as well after our talk today, so that you can manipulate this for your own numbers. Now, when you look at this, I want you to pay close attention. This is just a generic one. Let's just say your annual income goal was $215,000 for the remaining of 2020. With that being said, to quantify, if you want to make $225,000, I need to fill out some efficiencies first. I need you to look at your own personal efficiencies to the best you can guess. Of course, given the circumstances, they will have to be adjusted. How much of your business is going to come from listings? Let's say it's 60%. How much of your business is going to come from buyers? Let's call that 40%. Let's say your average sold listing percentage is at 80%. That means they list the properties 80% of the time, they're going to sell. Then you have to ask yourself, well, what's my efficiency as far as listing appointments? What is my conversion rate on listings? Let's be conservative. Let's say it's at 70%. Now, on average, to be honest, on average, I find the average listing agent is converting at 33% on average. So, but I know I'm talking to a higher caliber, so we're going to go ahead and put it at 70. Now, the next month, I'm actually coming back again to come speak with you guys to do a live listing presentation for you, where we're converting over 94% of the listing presentations that we go on. So once again, when looking at your efficiencies, you can always adjust that, because based on how good you are converting on those efficiencies, obviously there's less appointments we'll get to in a second. Then buyer trips to buyer sales. How many times do you actually show buyers houses, take them out in your car to show their properties before they buy? On average, it's about 5. Okay, it could be 7, but it's within a 5 to 7 range, depending on really your experience in the area and what is it you're doing. Okay, so it's 5 to 7. 5 to 7 unique trips you're taking that particular buyer out before they buy. And then you want to look at your average commission. Well, let's say the average commission is at $7,000. So if you're on a team, you're on a split, whatever it is, look at what your average commission is, okay? And you want to fill that in. Then you want to look at the total weeks worked. Now, when I'm looking at a full year, I've got 54 work weeks within the entire year, right? Now, I can't expect anybody to work that many work weeks throughout the year, but let's just go ahead and say it's 48 work weeks, okay? And if we're going to start from here on out, I'll let you guys do the math, but you can determine how many work weeks we got left before the end of the year to make sure that we can be effective in hitting our goals. Once you fill this out, then what it represents is it shows you right here, if you look at the top line, the secondary goals as well as the primary goals, it then shows you that you have to have a total of 32 sales, 19 of which have to be listing sales, 13 of which have to be buyer sales. Listing contracts taken have to be 24. Listing appointments to be completed has to be 34. Buyer trips required, right, because you're at 5 on average per person, is 64. That means you have to have a total of 99 appointments within 48 work weeks to be able to hit a goal at 225. Now, if I told you, okay, all you got to do is go out and do 99 appointments, you're going to be like, yeah, right. Well, how am I even going to get started with that? Well, now with GSS, it shows you all you have to do to get started is just to take 2.1 appointments a week. Can you take 2.1 appointments a week? I would suggest, of course. Even in today's marketplace, well, the circumstances being what they are, my team is still out there safely selling and going on anywhere between 7 and 9 appointments a week right now. Now, I know every region is different. Every state in the US is different. Every country is different in regards to what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do when it comes to showings. But when the times change and we can go back out there again and show properties, let's use this as a barometer to be able to track it. Here's my goal setting simplified for my team. Now, when I send you this, if you are a team or a broker and you'd like to use this information as well, I've got 2 different types of business plans, one for a single agent and then one for a team. This is my goal setting simplified for the year. This is exactly how my team breaks down, and this is exactly the efficiencies of myself as well as my team members. This is what has allowed us to be able to earn the 1.720 that we're shooting for. This is an exact breakdown of what is it we need to do. Now, with COVID being here, I will have to make adjustments to what my goals were for 2020. I understand that. But if it wasn't for COVID, this is exactly how it was going to lay out. Now, as you guys know, for the first few weeks, we were taking this minute by minute. Then it was hour by hour. Then it was day by day, which we're still at that transition of day by day to see where this market's going to go. But I don't know about you, but I'm feeling that we see the other side of this thing. I feel that it's coming. So when you're looking at your goal setting simplified, I want you to be able to forecast from either the next few weeks to the end of the year and see how you can adapt in today's marketplace. Because no matter what, buyers will buy and sellers will sell, regardless of what market you're in. Regardless of what market you're in, people will be buying and selling. I'm still seeing that today in my marketplace. And you, I'm sure, will see it as well and are seeing it. But it talks about, okay, well, leads. Well, where are we going to develop these leads right now in the marketplace? As we have to learn to adapt. The same lead opportunities are there, but they have to come in different places. And honestly, the case studies are all fresh. We don't know what's going to work better than others at this point. But all I can track is what's working for me now. And I want you to be able to consider for yourself as well. What is working for yourself now? Where are your leads coming from? Where are you making the greatest impact for the people that you're serving? Tom said it yesterday, and I love that he continues to repeat what is that we know. It's because we've got to be reaching out to our past clients. Like, we have such a responsibility to reach out to our past clients right now because they need us. They felt it for some of us that we abandoned them. We need to offer value to them when they're uncertain in regards to their largest investment they've ever made, that being in real estate. They've got a lot of uncertainty, and we need to help support them in that uncertainty. I myself am making 20 phone calls a day, picking up the phone and calling my past clients. I got to tell you, to be honest, the first 5, it kind of sucked. I was nervous about it. I was like, am I offering value? I questioned whether or not I should be making the phone calls. And then after I got to the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, 10th, and 20th, I couldn't stop, because the value and the impact that I made on the clients that I was serving and the feedback that I got was tremendous. They couldn't believe that I was picking up the phone and calling them and cared enough to be thinking about them. It's an easy call, guys. Don't do the bombs. Don't send the emails. Don't send the text messages. Make the phone call. They appreciate it. They need to hear from us right now. It's an easy call. Hi, Lisa, this is Nathan. Oh, Nathan, how are you doing? Well, I'm doing great. I was just thinking about you. With everything's going on, I just want to make sure that you and your family are safe and healthy at this time. Is everybody okay? Yeah, we're doing okay. Homeschool is tough. Happy hour starting earlier. We're having those conversations. So, well, that's great to hear. I wanted to make sure that you knew if you needed anything, I want to be there to help you. If you need me to drop something off, if you need me to pick something up or deliver something, please let me know, because I want to be there to be able to help you where I can. That's the conversation. At no time do I mention real estate. At no time, until they ask me about real estate. Now, it's inevitable that they will ask us, of course, but I don't bring it up. I want to be able to come from a place of helping rather than selling. And because of that, that's translating back to me, and I'm only enhancing the tribe that I've been able to build, that of my core business being my repeat and referral clients. So deal opportunities, repeat and referral.
Nathan?
Internet, yes.
Hey, I just wanted to hop in for a second to ask
Sure.
a question.
Yeah.
In terms of these conversations that you're having, completely agree with you. You said in the beginning, you don't talk about real estate unless they ask you.
Right.
So my question to you is, on these phone calls, maybe on social media, how are you educating buyers and sellers about what is still possible within the new normal? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, well, it all depends. It depends on what side of the transaction they're on. Are they a buyer or are they a seller? Haley, it's funny that you mentioned that. It's the same. Haley knows this, but I was actually interviewed on TV at 7:30 this morning, a half hour before I jumped on this webinar. And that was the same question they had for me as well, is how do you advise people in today's marketplace? And it just depends. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? Do you have to sell or can you wait? So it just depends. But what I know is that in my market area, and that's all I can speak on, is in my market area, the DC metro market, we're still running at a month and a half of inventory, which with a month and a half of inventory, it still suggests that we're in a strong seller's market. What that means is that with a month and a half of inventory, if not one other house was listed from today moving forward, it would take a month and a half to clean out the entire inventory. What else I know is for every house that's listed correctly in today's marketplace, it's demanding competition. I know this because when my agents are out showing houses, they're still finding themselves in competition where they could be competing not only against one other offer, but it could be 5 or 10 other offers at any other given time. So it depends on who I'm communicating with. If I'm communicating with a seller, I said, look, if you're considering selling in today's marketplace, by pricing it correctly in today's marketplace will demand that competition. It is impossible to underprice your house in today's marketplace, because the more competitive you position yourself, the more demand you receive. And with that demand, it will ensure that you get top dollar for your house. If it's a buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you found your dream home, this is exactly what you're looking for. Let's pursue it, because this opportunity that we have right now is going to come with less competition. Now, there still may be competition, but it's not going to be competing with as many people as you otherwise would be when this market does come back, because this market will come back. So these are the conversations. As I mentioned, it just depends. It depends on who it is that you're talking to. Does that make sense?
Totally. And how important would you say, obviously the information that you can share on a market update is is limited in some respects, but is that stopping you from sharing the information that you do have?
No, because the information that I do have comes in real time. It's what I'm doing every single day. So I can communicate that, yeah, well, I've got my agents out showing houses anywhere between 9 and 7 appointments a week. I've got my agents, we ratified 5 deals just this week. So it's for somebody telling me that the market is in a bad place right now, I have a difficult time accepting that. No different than when the reporter today was asking me, well, Nathan, the housing reports came out that there's an 8.5% decrease in home sales. And I said, well, yeah, there is. There's 8.5% less people looking to buy and sell real estate right now. But the reality is there's still buyers and there's still sellers in the marketplace. Now, what this is coming back to, just to circle back around, is this is the opportunities. See, guys, no matter what market we're in, people will always be buying and selling. Yeah, there might be 8.5% less people doing it, but the pie is still the same. We still want to have our piece of the pie. But unless we capture these opportunities and have the mindset to be able to capture those opportunities, we're out of the game. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how do we get in the game. And the best place to do it is in looking and considering how do we offer value in these 10 different opportunities.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Nathan.
Yeah. So let's go through this quickly. So you've got internet lead gen. See, when I talk about internet lead gen, like I know I have different platforms than you have in Europe, but we all have internet platforms. They're all the same. Like there's a lot of talk about Zillow, but don't give Zillow too much credit. Zillow is no different. And actually Zillow stock is going way down right now, but it's the internet platforms. I'm finding just on darthomes.com, we're generating more leads over the last 5 weeks, week over week, than we ever have in the last 6 years that I hired my internal ISA, which is an internal sales agent who works on my team. He scrubs and pre-qualifies all my leads and distributes them. But we're receiving more leads week over week than we ever had in the last 6 years since Jake started working with me. This past week was the highest amount of leads that we ever generated. And what's unique about the leads that we're generating now is they're more qualified than they ever were before. They're filling out their correct name, their email addresses, and their phone numbers, where before that wasn't the case. So you got to think about it. The buyers that are looking to buy right now, these are serious buyers. Now, depending on where you are in the world, what I equate today's market to is no different than if we're in the middle of the holidays or in a major snowstorm. Yeah, things slow down, but it's the real buyers that are out there shopping right now. Then it's the community. What type of value you offer in the community? Like, I love it. We're doing videos as well, reaching out to our current owners and restaurants and business owners in the area and say, what can we do to help support you in this marketplace? You're interviewing them, allowing them to share how that is that they're adapting in the marketplace. What are you doing? I think Tom put a great initiative, a great challenge out there for you. Are you doing 2 to 3 videos a week, interviewing business owners and restaurant owners, being a part of your community, being a leader in your community? I think it was a great challenge. Advertising. What are you doing when you're advertising? What we know is that visibility beats ability any day of the week. Now, not on this call, of course, not in the group that we're speaking to here today, but you can see that there are some agents in your marketplace that you've worked with them on a transaction before, and you're like, man, they have no idea what is it they're doing. How in the world do they continue to get business? Well, if you look about what it is they do, what they're doing is they're extremely visible. Visibility beats ability any day of the week. So you need to be out there advertising, especially now. I want you to be posting something on our team. Our marketing director is posting something at least once a day, offering something of value to the marketplace to let them know that we're still there. Now, if you have the opportunity to be interviewed by the news, like that'll be posted as well, showing that we're constantly up to date with what's going on in the marketplace. Consumers need to be able to see that in this marketplace. Then you got door knocking. Well, I wouldn't recommend necessarily door knocking in today's marketplace. Same thing with open houses. We're having to adjust. I don't know if those days are going to come back or to what capacity they will come back, but we will figure out a way to be able to continue to adapt. You got social media, geo-targeting, but then most importantly, we're talking about all of these lead opportunities. But one of the most important things we got to talk about is it's not the leads that are the problem. Usually the number one problem that we're faced with is that we're not doing a very good job in converting these leads. Because you got to recognize, of course, this is a funny slide as it is today, all efforts have to be focused on getting face to face. If you guys heard me speak before, there's the primary and the secondary. The primary is always to get somebody face to face. Because the reality is prior to all this stuff, we knew that if we got a buyer in the seat of our car, the likelihood that we were able to close that buyer and having them buy a house was fairly high, right? We'd all agree. If we had the opportunity to be able to meet somebody face to face, we increased the likelihood that they were going to then buy with us. So primary goal is to try to get a buyer face-to-face, a face-to-face appointment when that becomes safe and able to do that again. But until there's a face-to-face relationship, it's hard to say there's a true relationship that hasn't been captured. So we got to look at our primary and our secondary. The primary goal is to be able to book a face-to-face appointment. The secondary is just to book a reoccurring phone call. So when I'm calling a client, somebody calls on 123 Main Street. Hi, this is Joe from whatever. I'm looking to buy 123 Main Street. I then call. Now, all the time when I call them, do they answer my phone call the first try? No, they don't. My goal is then to call them, and I got a process where I'll take you through in a second of how we were able to connect with them. But if I can't get to meet them at the property right then when I got them on the phone, my next goal in leaving that voicemail is to let them know, hi, this is Nathan Dart with RE/MAX, calling in regards to 123 Main Street. I understand that you have interest in seeing this property. I'm available today at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock to show you this home. If I don't hear back from you, I will follow up with you again at 7 o'clock. So yes, have I booked an appointment? Yeah, I booked an appointment, then I'm going to call that client back at 7 o'clock. And will I call them back at 7 o'clock? Yeah, you better believe it, because I've got an appointment. So you got to focus on either your primary or your secondary. Always focused on booking those appointments. But then when you're looking at our plan or what we have left in 2020, we want to make a strategic approach to how we're going to effectively go down that path. We want to look, and this is what my team's looking at now, is overall, what can we do? What type of impact can we make on our client experience, the lead generation, and increasing our conversion now that our leads have only been picking up. So we want to make sure we capitalize on that. The overall team experience. Right now, I've dug deep as part of my responsibility for my team in training. My team, if there is any lack of appointments they're on or business that they so-called they're not getting, they're spending that time purposefully in training. We've got them trained and coached and held accountable daily at this point. They're going to come out of this far more educated and far better sales professionals than they ever were before they came in. Then the content. What type of content are we putting out there? What type of value are we offering within the marketplace? Once we got all this put together, then we got to figure out how it all comes into play. How do we then actively do it on an annual basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis? It all starts with our schedule. Now, this is my schedule, and typically pretty much what I'm following now, aside from me playing tennis, golf, and going to my lake house. But I'm maintaining my schedule, which I think is so important to have, especially during these times, because I know, and nobody, I don't want anybody to admit to this, but I know some of you guys are sleeping in. But it's not a good idea. You want to be able to have some structure in your day, because how you bookmark your day is absolutely critical. I'm still waking up first thing in the morning. I'm waking up at 5 o'clock. I'm working out at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm coming back. I'm in my office here. I'm in my office getting ready, doing my visualization, my journaling. I've got my journal right here. I got the books that I'm reading. I'm spending my time here first, working on my mind, getting my mind right, getting myself purposeful for the day of what it is that I want to be able to accomplish and pursue. And then I'll go do my workouts. I'll do my workouts for an hour. I'll come back up, take my shower, and then get started on my day. My day is filled just about the same way. It's filled with, sorry, skip that slide. My day is still filled with the same thing. What it is it's purposefully out there prospecting for leads. Now it's prospecting my lead opportunities for either people that are looking to list now or maybe to go in the pipeline for the future, but they're all purposefully pursuing these leads, offering value in these phone calls. If it's not making those phone calls, then the next step is what I'm going to be doing is going out and reaching out to my past clients as well, seeing what it is I can do to be able to help. Stop selling, come from a place of helping. Okay, but what you have to understand is I'm still actively prospecting during this time. It's just my message has changed. I had a call with another brokerage out in Canada, in Toronto. I've got a call with them. I said, Nathan, well, how are you still so busy with everything that's going on? He says, what new strategies, what new technologies are you using? You must be using something different. I said, no, I'm not using anything different. It's just my message has changed. What I'm saying is different than what most other people are saying. I'm truly coming from a place of trying to help rather than to sell. And the consumers in today's market are extremely receptive to that. But as you can see, my schedule is still intact. And what's so important with my schedule is as I make my outgoing phone calls, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not taking incoming phone calls. Because what I've learned is that the busy schedule, the busier we get, in real estate, we're vulnerable to this, extremely vulnerable, that we live in a place where we're very reactive rather than being responsive. And if you're in a reactive place, it puts you at a disadvantage. It puts you at a place of weakness. But when you're responsive, it gives you strength. It gives you power. Because when a buyer is calling you and you're reactive, you don't know what they're calling you about. So then what you have to do is you have to hang up the phone. You have to go do the research and call them back. And at that point, then it starts the phone call all over again. It's not a very efficient use of your time. But if you can let something go to voicemail, as I do, I don't take incoming phone calls. I let it go to voicemail. I know what they're asking, so that when I respond to them, I can then educate them to what it is they think they know, but they don't know. So we got to follow a strategic plan. How I'm able to create this strategic plan and be efficient with my time is because I understand my top three. Now, for you on this call, you may not have a team, and your top three is not three, it's your top 75 things that you have to do. The goal is, as you continue to grow and progress and find success down the path of fulfillment, you're going to want to try to expand what it is that you do, leveraging your time, understanding what 3 things or 5 things or 10 things as you continue to progress down from the 75 that you need to be focused on a daily basis. My top 3 that allows me to be effective and efficient is just this. Number 1 is I'm focused on generating leads and building relationships. That's my number 1 priority. Number 2 is the coaching and training of my team members. And then number 3 is going on listing appointments. If it's not within my top 3, I am not doing it. And I've built an entire team around to make sure everything is to be taken care of. Somebody just chimed in. When do you ever sleep? I actually do sleep. I sleep pretty good. But we'll come back to that in a second. These are my top 3. What allows me to be able to sleep at night is because if it's not on my top 3, it goes into these workflows. The workflows are created, and once again, you guys have a copy of all this stuff. These are the workflows that I've engaged my team on. So this is for every aspect of the business. So for instance, I'm getting ready to go live on a listing. Well, this is exactly who does what on my team. Now, when you see when it goes live, so that means I've got the listing agreement signed. I put it down on the desk of one of my assistant. You can see exactly who's responsible for doing what on that list. Now, the question I have for you, you can see it closer than I can see it on my phone, but do you see my name on there? No, my name is not on there because that doesn't represent what's in my top 3. Same thing for a pre-listing workflow. Prior to me going on my listing appointments, where I'm converting over 94% of the listing appointments I go on, this is exactly the actions that are taken prior to me going on that appointment. Now, there's only 2 things that I need to do. I need to confirm the listing appointment, right? And then I need to call the day after the listing appointment. But that falls within my top 3, right? Because my third right now is to make sure that I'm qualified. I'm actually presenting these listing presentations, but I'm converting. So it falls within my top 3. So these workflows are created around my top 3. If it's not my top 3, I'm not doing it. The last step is reviewing and progress through the month. So you want to be able to track, measure, improve wherever you can. So I track, measure, and improve everything because I understand the number 1 thing that I need to be able to track more than anything in my business is the amount of appointments that we go on. Because like you, if you want to make the $225,000, remember, you got to go on 2.1 appointments per week to ensure that that happens. For me to make over $1 million a year, for myself personally, in 28 work weeks, I have to go on, based on my efficiency, 2 appointments a week. That allows me to be able to be here with you guys and hopefully in the future be there with you guys in Europe to be able to do what I truly love to be able to do. By me building this business that supports the life that I want to live for myself and my family allows me to be able to be who I want to be. I can then be on the road and speaking with you guys. I can be traveling and offering experiences to my family. But if I don't track my appointments, I don't know where I am. So the number 1 thing that we have to be tracking on a weekly basis is where are we on, or we're on or off with our appointment goals. Sorry for these transitions. I feel like I can't get rid of them. Listing tracker. So this is my listing tracker. This is 2018. But what it is I show is I track every listing appointment I go on. Every day, every property address, the name of the homeowner, and whether or not I got it or not. I track that because I want to understand my efficiencies as well. Because if I see that I start converting less than 90%, I want to know what I can do to fix. Now, granted, that's not all that bad. And yeah, maybe I'm a little harder on myself than I otherwise probably should be, but at least I'm tracking. Because if I didn't know, I don't know, and I can never improve. So before I start sliding, I want to make sure that I adjust myself where I can. So you not need to constantly be tracking where it is that you are in your business at all times. I'm moving through this pretty quickly because I want to be mindful of the time, but I also want to share with you our operational process. It's important that, for my job as a leader, certainly on my team, is that I have to be able to coach, train, and then most importantly, hold accountable. Okay. And holding them accountable is I have to give them a structure. I don't want to go into too much detail about this, but this is the structure of my team. This is what they're responsible for as far as a policy on my team. Basically, what it shows is they're responsible for booking at least 2 appointments per week. Right now, we've adjusted it to either whether it be 2 buyer consultations, 2 listing appointments a week is what they're responsible for. But these are 2 appointments a week that they have to do as a minimum. Otherwise, there's a probationary period, which we'll get to in another call that we get on. Now, the reality is we're going to come out of this and say, you know, Nathan, this is some really good stuff that you're talking about. I feel differently. I think differently. And you know what? That makes me feel great. But I haven't done anything for you until you actually took action and changed something in your life. See, because very people are actually truly committed to finding the success. You have to be accountable. And if you yourself can't be accountable to yourself, which most of us can't, I need you to rely on whether it be your coach, your spouse, which is always a challenge, your broker owner, your team leader, your colleagues, somebody to help hold you accountable to your goals, because you need that support, especially in times like this. Find that accountability partner, because they need to be with you in this fight, because we can't do it by ourselves. I know my biggest weakness. My biggest weakness is I don't ask for help. That is my biggest weakness. Now, at times it can also be my biggest strength, but I know more times than not it's my biggest weakness. Find that help. Find that accountability partner. And in closing, I want to share the saying that I gave to my kids and I started this presentation with. In today's market, it's more important than it ever has been. Great people actively create their lives, while others are created by their lives, passively waiting to see where life will take them next. The difference is living your life intentionally versus living it by accident. Guys, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to be able to show our true character. And what I want to say is, I said show our true character. So many of us just talk about how great we are and what is it we do and all this kind of stuff. It's all talk. But we get to look ourselves in the mirror right now and see who we really are as people. Our family is going to see it. Our friends are going to see it. Our marketplace will see it. But once again, most importantly, we will see it. See, I believe in you. I believe in you because you're on this call here today. You're taking the effort right now to say, I want things to be better. I need things to improve, and they will improve because I am passionate about what is it I do, why does I do it, how I do it, and who I do it for. You're willing to fight for it. You're going to find your strength, find what makes you authentic and makes you who you are so you can be truly fulfilled. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're right now in Europe, you guys are preparing for happy hour. So I'm hoping that sets up for a good one. I know if it's about 3 or 4 o'clock my time, that's where my wife would be knocking on my door saying it's time because homeschool is over. But thank you for spending this time with us here this morning, this afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks as well.
Thank you so much, Nathan. We ran out of time for some questions, but I just have one quick question. I hope it will be a fast question. Which CRM do you use?
Yes. So I use a CRM called Property Base, which is built off the Salesforce platform.
Cool. Thank you. That's what the person who was asking, Bensei, figured, but I just thought that was a really quick question. I do want to make sure that we end on time to respect everyone's schedule. Thank you again so much for sharing your wisdom, your insight, your enthusiasm. I know you probably didn't have a chance to look at it while you were doing your presentation, but tons of really great feedback from our participants, from the audience. Found so much value in everything that you were saying. So thank you again so much for taking the time to share with us. I'm looking forward to your next presentation. You and I are going to discuss when it is. But to everybody out there who enjoyed this Level Up webinar, please be sure to stay tuned to the RE/MAX Europe social media account to be able to register for Nathan's upcoming presentation, which is going to be on how to do a listing presentation. So especially during these times, being able to tailor or adapt your presentation to make it as relevant as possible is definitely something you need to be doing. And Nathan's gonna walk us through how to do that, how he does it, and all of that great stuff. So thank you again, Nathan, so much. And I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right. All right. Bye, guys.